All right, interesting views of Nigerians there. We will get to talk about them. Or do you have a thing or two to say about that,
Well,
Emmanuel?
Nigerians definitely on the streets will have their own fair share
Interesting,
on
interesting. I'm always looking forward. I'm always looking
There's
forward
this
to
comic relief you get from
feelers
Nigerians,
from the streets.
despite any form of challenges they are passing through. Nigerians are there to always
Absolutely.
give us our take on
Absolutely.
issues in the country.
Right, Emmanuel,
quickly start,
we're not alone.
Another Emmanuel is here in the building.
Oh, I'm so blessed. As I always say, when I'm in the midst of both of you, Emmanuel Akindubuwa, it's good to see you again.
It's another rainy Saturday morning.
But here we are.
Heavily flooded Saturday morning. I mean, you could just imagine the number of cars breaking down on the road this morning. But it's very, very interesting that for the 3 Saturdays that we've had this show, I mean, the rains have always heralded the start of the show.
It's a blessing in
But there is an interesting poser now that you're here, Emmanuel. The question we asked people on the street was, would you leave 500,000 naira if you have a job where you earn 500,000 naira monthly, but then you have an option to relocate abroad? What would you do?
It depends on what you find as a fulfillment. For many Nigerians, who travel out, many of them just go out for the fact that they hope that when they get to where they're going, they would find a better means of living. But there's this saying that a bird in hand is worth twice the ones in the bush. So if I have a job that earns 500,000 naira in Nigeria, and it's still good enough to meet my basic needs, I think I can plan my life steadily. And if the opportunity comes for me to go there, maybe on vacation or get a job there, it won't be as if I'm just being desperate to just go and just find a way to just survive. It won't be me just jumping into an unknown
Emmanuel Ajayi, but you know what they say, Emmanuel Ajayi, the more you earn, the more your burdens.
Yeah, definitely.
Increase.
It's not limited to here alone, though.
Well, basically,
but then spending power, purchasing power.
If I come in from the angle
power of the dollar,
the spirit of Jackpot that is reigning at the moment, a lot of people will say, well, let me ignore the 500,000 naira and move out for a better, greener pastures.
Heading into the unknown wilderness.
Well, definitely, a trial would definitely, you need to take that step.
Yes,
you feel that,
that's a fair point.
Are you endorsing?
That's a fair point. But we also people travel for diverse reasons. Gentlemen, that was just it's not for us to discuss fully, but just to glean where we stand. All right. Let's take a little break now and return with the newspaper review. Stay with us. All right, on the front pages of Nigeria's major newspapers this morning, we've seen so far diverse headliners. Emmanuel Ajayi, you go first.
Yeah, let me start with the Nation newspaper this morning. And the big story says, Tinubu names Cardoso CBN governor in major shakeup. We have the rider there saying, Usoro Datijo Isiako Bello nominated as deputy governors. And also cautions optimism as stakeholders set agenda for a new team. You can see there on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. Kano governor fires commissioner after death threat to tribunal judges. And Supreme Court dismisses APC's case against Enugu governor there on the front page of the Nation newspaper. We have more stories there. Inflation hits 25.8% in August, says MBS. Nigeria's public debt stock rises to 87.38 trillion naira in second quarter of 2023. Up there you have stand up, angry youth, angry Obasanjo cry, others Oyo Monarch at events. And Chicago University releases president's academic records. And all the stories there on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Over to you, Kemi.
All right. Emmanuel Ajayi, what stands out for you?
Lots of interesting stories screaming out for attention. From the appointment.
Emmanuel Akindubuwa, I should say. All right, pardon me.
But I think the CBN governor appointment story would definitely be...
And rightly so. It's the biggest.
Look at another story that gets my attention. That's the one from the former president ordering the monarchs to stand up at an event in Oyo. That video trended. On our YouTube channel. Yes. Stand Up Angry Obasanjo orders youth monarchs.
TVC News was there.
It was quite hilarious because we transmitted that event live at the commissioning of the hostel facilities in Lautech Isenyi campus. And what the president was actually saying, or the former president was saying, is that, look, as a king, the governors or state officers or state elected officers owed more prominence than you. And when I was called onto the ITL, to the podium, I expect you all to accord me that respect.
That respect.
It was hilarious, but it passed a very strong message.
A very strong message that has also generated diverse reactions. You know, some are amused by it all. That
where's the amusement coming from?
No, listen. Listen. Some are amused by it all. I was shocked. Let me confess, I was shocked. But then when I also shared with people around me, some were amused, and these are Southwesterners too, and who said, why it's normal, because we are no more in the times where these traditional rulers are the head of state, so to speak. There is the office of the governor, and we know the power the governor wields over the coronation, so to speak. Even before the Oba, for example, emerges, we know the power he wields. We saw what happened with Sultan Emir of Kano, the former Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamine Sanusi, who was deposed by the governor. So we know the power that the governors appear to wield, whether it's healthy or not.
Appear, that's a legitimate power.
Yes, so whether it is legitimate or not now, but that is what stands now. So, but what I didn't sit well with me was the point the former Nigerian leader was trying to make. Because,
to tell them to stand up.
And it's good you brought that context in. But, you know, what I was uncomfortable with was Edide, which is stand up. Ordering them to stand up and then ordering them to sit down back. So that point was what I felt. I was rather shocked at the point he was trying to make.
And that's why I also queried that particular development, saying they should stand up. Realize the respect for our traditional rulers in the country. The former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, is a Yoruba man. You know, there's this culture in the Yoruba parlance that you need to respect your elders. But for Obasanjo to even tell the traditional rulers to stand up at
I think Obasanjo, the former president, with all due respect, made his point. He said, look, you are my kings. I would come to your palace and pay tributes to you, pay obeisance to you. But when we are at a state function, you also pay respect to elected officials, either past or present. I think it goes both ways. Respect begets respect.
So let's say
another story on the front page, which still caught attention, is the Chicago varsity. This controversy seems to linger, even despite courts has issued judgments on it, despite the fact that there have been lots of releases or documents to back the claim that the president did attend the Chicago University. The controversy seems not to go away. And for the varsity releasing another statement or record to show that the president did attend. I mean, during the week, we had one of his former classmates come and say, this man actually attended the Chicago varsity. I do not know who or where those who are peddling these rumors, what they hope to achieve with this. But the facts still remain that the president has tendered his document, and we should focus on nation building rather than distracting him from the huge job that he has of rebuilding the nation.
I take your point, Emmanuel, but you know, that's why the courts are constituted, for people to, rather than channel your grievances on the streets and, you know, create mayhem. Why not you go to the courts? And it will be interesting to see how this will pan out, because this is yet another issue before the president, and he has said he will not. And he has said, but there's a judgment, you know, pending on this point, because from the reports we heard yesterday, or was it Thursday now, the people or the petitioners in this case now, they are not letting up in their desire to question the validity of the president's credential. And all right, we'll see how far it goes, whether it is indeed grievous, as the respondent, as the Tinubu camp is calling it, whether it is grievous, because courts have already spoken on this issue. It was one of the issues before the tribunal. Recently, the election petition election petition court, that is, and we saw how the court ruled on the matter. We'll see how the American court. We'll see how the American court, because all the legal teams involved are active on this issue, and we hope that we will get to the end of this eventually. Another interesting story, Emmanuel. I wonder how the Kano development. You covered Kano election,
I covered
the governorship and the presidential election. Very rigorously.
The Kano governor,
what did you think?
the Kano State Governor, His Excellency Abba Kabir Yusuf, is a no-nonsense man and is a man of great conviction. Whatever he feels is the right thing, he goes for it, and he's a disciplinarian. I mean, this is a man under 2 weeks of appointment. He had to review some of the actions of the former governor. That's Abdullahi Ganduje. So I think he has read the Riot Act to his commissioners and all his appointees. Don't just make any loose statement about state matters, especially matters of involving the judiciary. It's out of your purview. I didn't appoint you as my spokesperson, and you must be guided by your code of conduct. And I think it's really, really very affirmative by the governor.
And it's a warning to all the other, government spokespersons, because they have now been told now, except only my commissioner for information or my spokespersons are permitted, to speak. Just focus on your mandate, focus on where you are asked to supervise in whatever roles you are, and do not drift to other issues so you don't fall into or get into trouble.
Another paper, okay. Let's take the leadership newspaper. You have that there. The leadership newspaper at the moment. Okay, what other paper do you have? We don't have.
All right, let's check out the leadership. All right.
Tinubu finally sacks Emefiele. All deputy governors are there from the front page of the leadership weekend newspaper at the moment. A big story there. Okay.
Which we covered earlier on, since it broke on Friday night. Now that we have the Yemi Cardoso personality who is coming in at a crucial time in the country in terms
before
of
we get your reaction, let's take
prosperity.
On the front page of the leadership newspaper this morning. Senator plot Akpabio's impeachment in Saudi Arabia. Big story there. You may want to say, coming from the leadership newspaper. And we have more stories. Emmanuel, which one
of course.
You?
There's a story about the UAE deal.
Yes.
Saying, yet again, the Kano story is there. But I think let's talk about the CBN appointment. Massive one from the president. A lot of people have been saying that this is perhaps a very wonderful team. On the surface, I think I like the diversity. Accomplished bankers from different fields. If you look at the woman there, she's one of the directors, from the commercial banks in the country. Look at the governor himself. An ex-city banker, former commissioner for economic planning in Lagos State. They have a huge task before them. Beyond the profile, the rich profile, they have a huge task before them. And we expect that in the 5 years which they've been entrusted with, they will be able to turn around the economy of Nigeria. Most importantly, strengthen the Naira. They have to come up with policies that will strengthen the Naira. The Anchor's borrower schemes that was supposed to boost agriculture in the country was not properly executed by the previous team, which we hear is still under investigation, with the president giving them the mandate to recover that money. So they have a huge task. As we congratulate them, while they are with their Senate confirmation.
It's even too early to even congratulate them,
maybe
considering
we can say congratulation is in line, because we expect that the Senate would also do justice to ensure that the trust that the president has reposed in them is consolidated upon. But we hope that they will be able to turn things around and achieve the mandate given to them.
All right, gentlemen. Quickly on the next paper now, we're looking at this day. This day is also reflecting the biggest story at the moment, talking about the nomination of Olayemi Cardoso, the former chairman of Citibank, who steps in now, or is to step in now as the new governor of troubled CBN. Of course, is coming in at a very crucial time. Attention will now shift to the Senate for his confirmation, as well as his nominated deputies in the persons of Osoro, Mohammed Atiju, Philip Ikazo, and Bala Bello, who were also picked as deputy governors. But then up there on the front page of this day is this story, further developments regarding issues surrounding Nigeria's visa and flight engagements with the UAE. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Tuga, is saying that, is quoted as saying that an impending joint statement will clarify the issues And down there on the paper is the president, a report that the president is heading to the United States of America on Sunday for the UN General Assembly.
That's a very interesting story for me. I think the president has been showing that, contrary to what the naysayers are saying, he's strong, fit, and ready for the task. He has proven that he's not relenting, and we can only pray that God will continue to strengthen him for the task ahead. We wish him all the best as he travels to New York for his first appearance at the UN General Assembly. But I think the statement from the Foreign Affairs Minister, Tuga, is quite interesting because after the news broke during the week that Nigeria has been able to strike a deal with UAE to lift the visa ban, there's still a lot of things to be to be sorted out.
Definitely.
And Tuga is saying, look, we will clarify the issues, the flight engagement that will return back to the country and all that. It's not just going to be a sweep of the finger and everything is back. There's a responsibility on our part to ensure that our citizens put on the best behavior when they travel out of the country. And there's a responsibility on the part of other countries to welcome us with the utmost respect and responsibility that is applicable to all countries. So you cannot treat us as what we are not, and you expect us to give you the regard that you want. So we have to put on our best behavior as a country, and our host nations or countries that welcome us must also receive us.
Manuel, let's give it to the president for taking that bold step.
Absolutely,
to ensure that he redeems the image of Nigeria. Let's move on to other stories from the Saturday Independent at the moment. The big story here says Tinubu replaces Emefiele with Cardoso as CBN governor. Names 4 deputy governors. The big story there is all about Cardoso. More stories there on the front page of Saturday Independent. Mohbad, why musician, more stories there, gain more popularity after death. Well, it's a big one there.
This is a sad story. It's a sad story.
Really? At 27?
27-year-old Ilario Olua, that's his real name, but of course it's called Mohbad. I just heard the report that after his death, his music has topped the charts in the US, in the Apple charts. To tell you that it's very unfortunate. It reminds me of another young man, Dagreen, who passed on in 2010, whose profile rose after he died.
Absolutely, you're correct.
But it's unfortunate, and more unfortunate is the fallout from what has happened after his demise. We've heard
the controversy surrounding his death.
His body. There are videos of him being molested by some people, the issues that he's having with his former record label and all that, and the police are saying they will reopen investigation. There was a petition he lodged against bullying, and the police said he didn't follow up with that petition, so they didn't know what to do. But now that he has passed on, they are now compelled to reopen that investigation. Maybe it could give a pointer to the unfortunate death. But it's quite sad, and we can only pray that the family, God comfort them, and all the friends and associates of the young man.
It's a big blow. It's a big blow indeed. But, of course, it is key that everybody stays calm in the midst of all this and not forget that the family is grieving. And so we shouldn't allow, things to go out of hands and let the police, now that they are involved, let them do their job. Gentlemen, that's the much we can take. So much for you to read and splurge on, while you go about your fun-loving activities this weekend. There's